This is JJ Solomon.
This Corey Bradshaw, Mr. RTBA. Mr. These boys can't touch me on my worst day. And this is the Spit Bucket Podcast.
The Spit Bucket Speed Bag is brought to you by Diggles Elite Clothing.
Welcome back to the Spit Bucket Podcast, episode 7. I'm JJ Solomon here with my partner, Corey, Mr. IOTBA Bradshaw. Welcome back, bro.
My boy.
You ready?
Let's go. Let's get it, man. You know how we come in.
Let's hit that speed bag, man. First, extra, read all about it. Gervonta Tank Davis. Reportedly, allegedly, he tweeted it himself. Contract's up with Mayweather Promotions. Sounds like that relationship's ending. Talk that shit. What are your thoughts, man? I know you got some opinions on it. I know I do too.
Yeah, it's like when it comes to Gervonta Davis, you know, I gave the dude credit.
Yeah.
I was like, he was being quiet. He was handling his business. He was doing things the right way. You know, maturity is what I could say. But why would you put this tweet out? Why would you say this, talking about, oh, they putting me up against this fight against Rolly because it's my last fight on my contract? Dude, everybody around the world from the 214 to across the pond, they got you favored to beat this dude, especially you. You look at me like I'm silly, like, where did he go, George?
I'm worried about you.
You know, when it comes to Tank versus Rolly, and for him to put this tweet out and say, oh, they giving me this fight because it's my last fight, when the majority of the world say Tank is going to watch Rolly. I don't get it.
I think he makes a good point. I think that's the competitor in him. And he doesn't care about the easy fight. He cares about being relevant at the 135 lightweight division. So it's not about that. He's upset that he's fighting Rolly, bro, because you have Devin Haney, Lomachenko, Kambosos, Teofimo, all of them are right there in the mix at that division. Tank Davis is one of the talents of that division, and he's fighting Rolly Romero. I know everybody's talking about it, and I told you the reason there's a buzz for that fight is because of social media and Rolly's mouth. I see Tank's frustration. I think Tank leaving Mayweather is a good thing for his career, bro. I feel like Mayweather, for some reason or another, you can say he's trying to hold him back or whatever. I feel like Mayweather held him back a lot during his career, just by the simple words of, we're going to keep it in-house. I think that stunted his career, bro.
Let's not do that because, see, Tank, you know, as a fighter, you know, you are the boss. You know that you may have your promotional company behind you. Tank has stardom behind him. And when that light shine bright on a guy like Tank, because he is one of the young stars in boxing, when you talk, everybody gonna listen. Tank was reiterating the same words Mayweather was saying. Why rush? Everybody want to fight me. Let's not blame this on Mayweather now. Because if Tank Davis wanted them fights, Jose Jr., he would have took them fights.
You said it yourself. Mayweather is manipulative. Mayweather's controlling. How Tank Davis looked up to Floyd Mayweather. Now Floyd Mayweather's his boss. Mayweather's going to control him. Mayweather's going to tell him what to say. How many times have we seen in an interview with Tank, Mayweather jumps in, talks about it? I think this is good. And since this is a speed bag, let's get into the next one. But quick question, though. Do you think Tank Davis has the support, the talent to succeed? Do you think he's going to be better off without Mayweather, you know, compared to where he's been already?
Absolutely not.
You don't think he's going to land on his feet and have a good future?
I mean, he'll get with somebody because he Tank, but this is the thing right here. You know, Tank got all these people in his ears, right?
Yep.
And now Tank got this persona about him. He said, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. But then soon, watch this. He gonna soon see the grass ain't greener on the other side. Because when it comes to building the fighter, you build the fighter the right way. Tank was Mayweather prized possession. He was bringing him up the right way. So for people to say Mayweather didn't have his best interests, it's crazy.
Yeah, he probably had his health, you know, as a priority. But Tank needs to be fighting the big fights. He's got the talent. He's got the fan base. I'm a fan of Tank Davis, and I want to see him do
let's get into this next speed bag, JJ. You know, when I was scrolling up my articles, they talking about Jaime Munguia versus Daniel Jacobs.
Fight of the year.
Hold up. Who did he just fight?
Yeah, close fight.
What's your thoughts?
Munguia Jacobs, man. All right, Munguia Jacobs. So when I first saw this, I guess I was excited, and then I realized, why am I excited? I realized that these shitty pay-per-views, these sorry cards we've been seeing, has resulted in me getting excited about Munguia and Jacobs when I have no business getting excited about Munguia Jacobs. You have one guy climbing the ladder. You have another guy there towards the end of his career. There's nothing exciting about this fight. It's a good test to see where Munguia is at in his career, I think. Daniel Jacobs, I think he's a warrior. He's got an excellent story. He's put on some good shows. I think he's at the end of So it's not Charlo Munguia, but I'll tell you this: it's not Munguia. It's not Charlo Sulecki.
No.
So I mean,
it's kind of sort of.
Are you surprised that this is the fight that they're putting?
I'm surprised. It don't make no sense. And, for people to even make headlines and even talk about this, it's ridiculous to me. Because first off, people want to talk about Jaime Munguia and Charlo fight falling out. Okay, well, I can see how that happened because they both fight on different networks, right? Correct?
Yeah.
Jaime Munguia fight on DAZN, and he was Golden Boy.
And
Charlo fight PBC, Showtime, Fox, whatever. Okay, so this is my thoughts right here. Jaime Munguia, right? If you fight on DAZN and Demetrius Andrade fight on DAZN, why isn't that fight been talked about or been put together? We talking about Daniel Jacobs versus Jaime Munguia. I understand Andre got a fight coming up, but they fight on the same network, bro. Why people not talking about Munguia versus Andre? We always talk about, why Charlo won't fight him? Well, damn, we could see the separation.
Yeah, for sure.
One network with another network. Why Munguia and Andrade ain't fought yet?
Who's to blame?
It's got to be Munguia and Golden Boy. Them, they don't want to fight him because they must see something in Demetrius Andrade where they don't feel Jaime Munguia could win.
I could see that. And listen, remember when we spoke with Eric Morales a few weeks ago? I asked him, I don't know if you understood because it was in Spanish, or not a few weeks ago, a few months ago when he was in Dallas.
I spoke with him last night.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
I asked him about Munguia's future, he did hesitate a little bit when I asked about, when is he going to be ready for world champs? And Morales, there was a big hesitation. So I don't know what's going on there. Like you said, I don't know if they see something in Andre.
Nobody ain't talking about that, though. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, everybody's
about Daniel Jacobs.
Yeah.
I mean, we talking about Munguia versus Charlo, that fight falling out. Okay, I can see why they're on different networks.
Yeah, why is it got
Munguia and Andre been on this fight on the same network.
All right, next speed bag. We've got big news from Ukraine, Australia, and the United States. Last week we were talking about Lomachenko pursuing the fight with Kambosos, trying to get out of Ukraine. But it looks like he's decided to stay and to continue the battle, the war, what's going on out there. So that opens the door for Devin Haney, man. It looks like we're going to see Devin Haney against Kambosos. I know a lot of people have been really, really dying to see Haney finally get his chance. What do you think that's going to look like, man?
First off, that's for Sal Lomachenko, right? Let me shout out to
him.
It was reports he could have came, but I also heard reports like it's different, with Ukraine fighters like, which we'll get into our next topic, and Usyk with children-wise. But I'm excited for Haney versus Kambosos, right?
I'm excited too.
Welcome to the big leagues, Devin Haney. Like I said, welcome to the big leagues, sir. You're doing all this talking.
It's time to put up or shut up, man.
It's time to put up or shut up. Like,
I've seen you been very vocal about how do you think that fight's going to end on social media.
I want everybody to understand this. I think Devin Haney is a good fighter. One of the best young fighters in boxing. Like, me thinking he going to lose this fight to Kambosos don't take nothing away from me thinking still he one of the best young fighters in boxing. But this is my thing right here. When you lead up to a momentous occasion like this, Jose Jr., you must have a fight that show you arrived.
Yep.
And when I look at Devin Haney's resume, Jose Jr., I don't see where it's a fight that I can say, oh, this was the one where he arrived, where I can say Devin Haney, Devin the Dream Haney is ready for this moment.
Like what Kambosos did against Teofimo Lopez.
Exactly.
He arrived. He's a star now. So here, so what are your thoughts on who's going to win that fight?
I got Kambosos. I think, look, this is the thing right here. Just like we spoke on Ugas and Spence real quick. Ugas, you need a knockout here in Dallas, Texas, or you need to beat the hell out of Earl Spence convincingly for the judges to give you that fight. This fight is in Australia, which that don't mean too much to me because I just think Kambosos is the better fighter. And I think Devin Haney finna get his chin tested in a vicious way that he's never had his chin tested before. But for him to win this fight in Australia, he need a knockout. But
he's not gonna get it on the scorecard.
I got Kambosos.
When we first talked about it, real quick, I know we need to get to the next segment, but when we first talked about the lightweight division and Haney and all that, I really thought Kambosos. I'm starting to lean. I've been watching a little bit more film, and I know that I'm not talking about the level of opposition or anything like that, but just what I see, I'm starting to lean towards Devin Haney for that fight. I'm excited about it. We don't have time to talk about boxing skills. For me, I've learned that the boxing skills for the most part wins it. And I think, what about this, Craig? Do you think there's a chance this happened? Kambosos was prepared for the fight of his life. Teofimo Lopez was hyped up on himself. He drank his own Kool-Aid. And for that one night, Kambosos came out and had the fight of his life. I don't know if he can duplicate that, man. I think Haney's going to be ready for it.
No, I don't think so. No, I know we got to go to the second, but no.
We got to load it.
I don't think so. You got to understand this, Jay. Like, Kambosos prepared himself for this moment. He been sparring with Manny Pacquiao. This, like, come on, let's not say this was the luck of the draw.
Yeah, no, and I'm not saying that. I'm saying what if.
I'm just saying Teofimo understood what moment he was. He was talking about big things. Teofimo was prepared. Let's not discredit Kambosos on his excellent
great performance. I'm just saying what if, man.
No, it ain't no what if. Because this,
what if we see Devin Haney come out and just give him a clinic?
When I look at Kambosos, I look at a fighter that's focused. When I look at Devin Haney, I see a fighter, but I also see a guy who wants to be a celebrity.
Yeah, he's got other priorities.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, so we'll see. We got a lot more to talk about that in these upcoming weeks, so I can't wait, man. But I'm excited about that fight. And then speaking of Ukraine and Loma and that entire situation, we had the exact opposite situation happen with Usyk. Usyk has been granted permission to leave the country. He's starting his training camp and getting ready for that super rematch against Anthony Joshua. Oh man, I'm excited about that. Usyk shocked. I don't know if he shocked the world. He looked damn good against Joshua. Let's talk about Usyk Joshua, the rematch.
Oh yeah. First off, salute to
Alexander.
Alexander Usyk. For doing what he did first for his country, showing country first. He went over there and he stood tall, millionaire. He said for the rest of his life. So first off, salute to him and his efforts in showing the type of human he is. And
big salute, sir.
Forever be gracious to that. And I'm excited about this Usyk versus Anthony Joshua fight, right? But I'm also worried a little bit too.
You worried?
For Usyk, right? Because it's a lot going on for him. Like right
mental
now,
space,
mentally,
yeah.
Like boxing ain't about excuses, but this ain't no excuse.
No, this is a war.
This dude come from his country, seeing it get destroyed, seeing
100%,
hundreds of thousands. I mean, just seeing a lot of people, God rest their soul, get killed. Like, what is going to be his mind frame coming into this fight?
I put that on, man. I posted that on Twitter whenever I heard Loma was staying in Ukraine. I put, there's no way he's going to be able to be mentally prepared for a boxing. Usually you think of a title fight, that's the biggest thing in your life. You know what I'm saying? So that's what you train for. But this isn't the biggest thing in their lives right now. The biggest thing in their lives is protecting their home. So I didn't think there was a chance in hell that Loma was going to be mentally ready to fight Kambosos for those belts. And I feel exactly what you said. We haven't even discussed this beforehand, but I feel Usyk is going to have a big cloud over his entire training camp. There's no way. I don't think he's gonna be prepared.
No, but I also feel like this though.
I
also feel like
I see this.
Because think about this: who is Anthony Joshua to something that's going on like that?
You know who he is to Amir Khan? Mr. Steal Your Girl. I'm Mr. Steal Your Girl. Sorry,
but real talk. But who is Anthony Joshua? A dude in the ring against a guy in Alexander Usyk. Country was going against that. I think Alexander Usyk gonna come in here and destroy Anthony Joshua.
We'll see, man. We will see. I don't know how that war thing could flip the script. That war thing could destroy that war. Usyk being in the war could totally flip his script. Like I was in war. That was hard. This is easy. I'm about to this is nothing to me. I already beat Joshua once. I
just think how hard he gonna prepare.
Oh man, yeah.
Thinking about that's gonna make him want to fight hard for his country to have something to be proud about.
For sure, I can see that.
So we'll see.
And again, big ups to Usyk, Loma, Klitschko brothers. We are praying for you guys. Best wishes to the country of Ukraine.
Yeah, let's get into the next one.
Yeah, next one.
Introduce this one.
Yeah, go ahead. The next speed bag topic.
You know, it's been circulating. I think Earl Spence was on a broadcast show on the Zone. He was on the show and they asked him a question. They say,
what was that question?
would you fight your stablemate in Jermell Charlo? He say, basically, you know, if the money is there,
Yep.
me and Cuz gonna have to have that conversation.
Yep.
So that shocked everybody from the 214 to across the pond. And it was rumbling for the last couple of days and people are still talking about it. What's your thoughts on that?
Man,
sir?
I think Charlo and Spence are feeling different things because just last week on Hot Boxing, Mike Tyson asked Jamal, hey, what if Spence moved up to welterweight or super welter 154 to fight Jermell? And Jamal's response was, no, man, they train together. They're in the same gym. They're stablemates. So, and then a week later, Errol comes out saying, I'm up for the idea. It makes sense if the money's right. So I like it in Spence. Like Tyson said, if you're my friend, if we're friends and there's an opportunity to make $10 million, $20 million, whatever the case, then as my friend, let's have this fight. We're feeding our family. So I like it. I think it shows Spence confidence. I think it shows Spence thinking he's the best. We know we were talking about this off air. Spence is struggling to get to 147. You know, he's giving them vibes. It could happen.
But this is the thing right here, though. Like, it's the common ground right here. Like, you guys are stablemates.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't think Earl Spence should even be mentioning or letting them so-called reporters who think they top grade lead him into a question like that. I think the people who asked him that question, it's a disservice to y'all. See, y'all trying to start rumble in a jungle between a camp that has two unified champions in there who doing great things, who are from the same neck of the wood. I think that was a terrible disservice for them reporters on the Zone show to even mention
I'm gonna
that
have to
question
disagree with you. I'm gonna have to disagree
to
with
Earl Spence. I just think because this is the thing right here, and this reason why I say that is because then everybody been talking about Earl Spence. Why you don't want to fight Crawford? Now they trying to make this a thing. They trying to some divide and conquer type stuff, and then they gonna bring that cloud over him. Oh, you want to go up to 154 now and fight Charlo instead of fight Terence Crawford?
So I got two things to say to that though. You said it yourself. You think that Jermell is the best fighter out of Texas right now. Spence might be hearing those buzzes. Spence might want to say, no, I train with this dude. I know I'm the best fighter out of Texas. So he might have something to prove there, especially since he's kind of had a layoff. He had to fight with Danny. And then the second thing I was going to say about that was that who else at 154 are you going to talk about if Spence moves up? It has to be Jermell Charlo. He's the best fighter in the division.
Yeah, but the thing is,
you can't just say you guys get a friend pass and we can't talk about y'all.
Well, the thing is, I may say Jermell Charlo is the best fighter in Texas right now. They're just going off of what he been doing.
Activity
and what he been doing. So right now, at this certain point in time, Jermell Charlo is the best fighter in Texas. Like, I rate Yorganis Ugas extremely high. People is really sleeping on Ugas and not thinking he is one of them ones who could possibly defeat Earl Spence. But if Earl Spence come in here and beat Yorganis Ugas and show us he is still that same guy after all his trials and tribulations he been through, then we'll have to revisit who I think the best
give him
as
that,
of right
give him
now,
that Texas stamp.
Jermell Charlo has proven he's the best fighter in Texas right now.
Speaking of Errol Spence Jr., let's tell them what we got going on. April 16th, 2022, TSB is hosting our very first, not our very first, the very first boxing NFT exclusive event in history. There hasn't been one yet. So if you want to be part of that, if you want to join us in the suites at Cowboy Stadium, we've got the two biggest suites in the country's biggest stadium to watch one of the biggest fights of the year. So it doesn't make sense for you not want to join us. But if you want to join us, part of history, like I said, the very first boxing NFT event, TSBNFT.com. Grab an NFT. They're cheaper than the nosebleeds. You can join us up there, and not only will you have access for that one night, you'll have forever access to all of our events. So if we're in Vegas in September for Canelo and Triple G, guess where you guys get to be?
So we need everybody from the 214 to across the pond to show up and show out, because this is fin to be a magnificent event. And us, the Spit Bucket from the 214, we telling everybody to go to TSBNFT.com.
Yep. Hey, listen, and if you've never bought an NFT before, holler at us. I know it can be confusing to go in there and buy it. It's a whole new world, cryptocurrency, but we're not just wanting to sell you an NFT. That's kind of the way of the future. So we want to show you how to start collecting. So that way you can start collecting money and doing your own thing by using the Spit Bucket. So,
and as you look over a lot of the social medias, you see them switching to metaverse, like Facebook, Instagram. You see,
it's
that's
the way of the future.
So everybody, get your NFT. Like my guy JJ Solomon said, they cheaper than a nosebleed seat, and this gets you full access. The first 150 of our big head collection, this will give you access all time
forever
to whatever we do.
Life.
And not only that, it goes up in value. So just think, 2 years from now, that NFT you got could be worth thousands, hold up, and thousands of dollars. And then understand me, that's when you're gonna have to make a decision. Is you're gonna wanna come to these exclusive parties where they're gonna be super litty, or do you wanna sell it NFT?
Or does mama needs a house and baby needs some shoes? You can sell it. All right, guys. Well, that was the speed bag for episode 7. Stay tuned after the break for some Spit Bucket history.
DC with Diggers Elite Cleaning, y'all. We have 2 deodorizers here. What we specialize in is one of the things that makes our brand stand out. When you come clean your home, you can get one of. This is one of our deodorizers. It's a little light scent, but most of our customers love it. But if there's something going on in your home, it's that smell that you cannot get rid of, hit us up. This is the deodorizer that you might want to use. I don't care if you got a skunk in the building. This is gonna basically get rid of that smell.
Spit Bucket this week in boxing history. You know what time it is. It's time to open the vault. Open the vault. I need the combination.
Let's get into it, man.
What we got
some
first?
Birthdays. Shout out to Jack Johnson. You know, this is history, girl. Me being a black man for Jack Johnson.
March 31st.
March 31st, 1878.
Yeah.
You know, happy birthday. He becoming the first black heavyweight champion of the world. That was a momentous occasion. So, big dog, happy birthday. Salute to Jack Johnson.
Big salute to Jack Johnson. Pretty much helped expand the game. He was right there at the top of the Jim Crow era, and big time player in history of boxing. So good for him. Another birthday, April 2nd, Mr. the Crusher, Sergey Kovalev, turning 39 years old. Man, I thought he was older than that. Yeah, he's a hard 39, bro. So,
hey, boy, shout out to Sergey Kovalev, though, for real, though. What fight was that he had down here against that? It was a rematch against...
who did Kovalev? Oh, I was out of town. I was out of town for that fight.
It was at Frisco.
And I
Kovalev versus... Because Teofimo was on that card, too. But anyway, he came back and knocked that dude out viciously.
Damn, who was that, man?
Just being able to just meet Sergey Kovalev, interview him, and just see how he really is when you watch him on videos to be live and in person.
I know you've seen Kovalev and I know you've seen Canelo in person. How different is their sizes? Because I would want to put into perspective.
Like it's it's a height difference. Like that just show how good Canelo is, though. But that first fight with him and Canelo questionable, right?
A little bit questionable, but you know what's not questionable? For me, the first fight with him and Andre Ward.
Oh yeah. I ain't gonna lie. I thought Kovalev.
I thought Kovalev won that fight too, man. But anyway, hey man, good for you. Good for you. Happy birthday,
Alvarez
sir.
was the dude. Alvarez.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Are you talking about here in Dallas?
Yeah.
All right, now let's hit some big events. We've got a couple. We got two events for this week in boxing history. March 31st, 1995, Mr. Marco Antonio Barrera defeats Daniel Jimenez, and this is for his first world title at super bantamweight. Man, Marco Antonio Barrera, you know, a lot of people don't talk about the fight with Daniel Jimenez, but man, you can't dismiss what Marco Antonio Barrera's career was. That dude was a monster. He was I wouldn't say pioneer, but he was a hell of a representative for Mexican boxing.
He's my favorite Mexican fighter of all time.
Dude, I love Barrera. You know what I think I've talked about this before on the show, but that fight with Prince Nassim Hamed, where he had him rock him, sock him, robots, and Nassim's head was going over
Prince
there.
was the heavy favorite. Though,
oh, yeah, he was, man. But
Marco Antonio, shout out to him, though, like, for real, though, because that's my favorite Mexican fighter of all time. I don't know if I ever told anybody that. Just,
more than Canelo?
Yeah, coming up watching Marco Antonio Barrera and just the things he did. He was just a mean little mother. Shut your mouth. I love that dude.
Yes, sir. So congrats on that March 31st anniversary for your first world title, Mr. Marco Antonio Barrera. April 1st. This was April Fool's Day. Very fitting. Do you think?
Boy, it was really April Fool's Day. Because,
boy,
that shocked everybody around the nation when Chris Bird defeats Vitaly Klitschko and wins the WBO heavyweight title. JJ, tell me your thoughts when, like, did you think that was an April Fool's joke?
The April Fool's that got you. Like, man, Chris Bird, you know, he's a good boxer. He's just so little, and how the hell that happened, I'll never know. But what's funny about it is Chris Bird's very next fight, Vladimir Klitschko got that belt right back. Got that belt.
Protect the pride.
Yeah, to protect the pride. So congrats, Chris Bird, for getting that notch in history of boxing, beating a guy like Vitaly Klitschko, who's a Hall of, well, I don't know if Vitaly's in the Hall of Fame. Is Vitaly a Hall of Famer? Yeah, Hall of Fame. But yeah, congratulations, Chris Bird. And, you know, it's kind of a light week. That's this week in boxing history. Stay tuned for some spit or some shit. TSB Spitter is brought to you by the Crib Cashers. You need to sell your home quick? Skip the repairs, any condition, any situation, no closing costs, no realtor commission, and have a cash offer for your home in 24 hours. Just call 214-494-1340 or visit thecribcashers.com. That's thecribcashers.com. Welcome back. It's time for my favorite segment of the week, where we get to call out the fire or just the ignorant comments. You know what I mean? We see a lot of ignorant comments. So this week, the spit bucket, spitter shit. Craig, you want to get us started?
Oh yeah, my spit of the week, Mr. JJ Solomon, everybody from the 214 across the pond, Bob Arum. Boy, he came out and said, "How can you call me a racist?" I want y'all to check out this video.
Terence is being advised by the wrong people. Terence is a wonderful fighter, one of the best fighters, no question about it, but he didn't help at all in any of the promotions. You can call me a lot of things. You may call me cheap, you might call me greedy if you want. You know, there's a debate on that. But don't call me racist. That's like fucking stupid.
Yeah. So you see, like, what did he say, JJ?
You could call me greedy, you could call me cheap, but don't call me a racist.
Yeah, how can you call Bob Arum a racist? See, that's the thing right here. Like, you can't cloud your judgment. You got to actually look at reality, right? And what they say about reality, it's a mother shut your mouth. Look at reality in the history of boxing and what Bob Arum has did with all the different races in the sport of boxing, especially the black race. And it's kind of absurd for Team Crawford to make allegations and call him racist when he was compensated greatly when he was with Top Rank.
He became a star.
Yeah, like Bob Arum said, Terence Crawford. And I said this before, you're boring. You didn't help them to sell yourself or sell a fight. So, I think that was a disservice for them rumors. I don't know if it was from Terence Crawford or his team or wherever it came from, but I think it was a disservice, and I think that shouldn't have never been stated to call Bob Arum a racist. Because, like, you're one of your favorite fighters that you see all-time legendary in the next 15 years, Shakur Stevenson.
Yeah, for sure.
If he was so racist, why did Shakur go to him, Jose Jr.?
Yeah, I think it's just, I don't want to dive too much into this because we're a boxing podcast, but I think the society right now is hypersensitive to the word racist, and we throw that word racist everywhere. Bob Arum has worked with Latinos and black people and minorities his entire career. He's given opportunities to so many people, including Terence Crawford. There was always, like he said, you can call him cheap and greedy. Like, De La Hoya had problems with Bob Arum. Floyd Mayweather had problems. That was money issues. I don't believe that was racism issues. So he put De La Hoya on the map. He put Mayweather on the map. He guided them before they did their own thing. So I think, to your point.
And like you say, with De La Hoya and Mayweather, like, it's only certain fighters in history who able to become big enough to where they could carry their own weight.
For sure.
So it ain't like, he was being money and greed. It's like it's operating business. If you get that big, okay, when contract is up, you can do your thing.
Exactly. But who got him that big?
Bob Arum.
Yeah, man, you can't be Bob Arum has done some amazing things with the sport. So, yeah, I agree with you. That was a good spit and good to come back, man. I know it's hard for a white guy to talk about racism and to look the camera in the eyes and say, I'm not a racist. That's ridiculous. And he did it, so good for him.
What's your spit?
My spit, let me pull up the tweet from Eddie Hearn. He says, how can you have Jamal Charlo, and this is to PBC, not fighting Caleb Plant, Charlo not fighting Benavidez, you're providing, or Benavidez not fighting Plant. You're providing substandard fights that no one's interested in, rather than making a fight that could invigorate boxing. So, I'm a critic of Eddie Hearn too. I'm not saying everything the dude says is right, but this is very, very true in terms of what PBC is doing and how we spoke earlier on Charlo fighting Sulecki. And you've got some names there in the sport or in your roster that could really, really be a shot in the arm for the sport. We talked about last week, UFC putting on big fights. Right there, you've got 3 big names that people would pay to see. Plant, Charlo, Benavidez. Why aren't they fighting? You gotta, like I've been saying this whole damn time, you gotta hold people accountable, whether that's your peers, whether that's the people you work for, whatever the case. So I love what Eddie Hearn said, how the PBC just keeps their roster and makes these silly matches. It needs to be addressed, dude. Like, why are we? And again, we got to pay for these fights. Some way or another, we got to pay for these fights. So why are we not seeing these names fight each other?
And to your point, remember we mentioned earlier, why wasn't Jaime Munguia and Demetrius Andrade fighting, and they're on the same banner? You got Charlo, Benavidez, Caleb Plant under the same banner, under the same network, and they don't fight each other. Bro, that was a hell of a spit.
Yeah, let's have them fight. I think these guys get rich and then stop caring about fighting. And I don't blame them. Shit, I don't want to get hit in the face a million times if I'm already a millionaire. All right, who we got next? Oh, this is your shit, Mr. Corey Bradshaw.
Okay,
what you got?
Shit, let me pull up my tweet. It's from, he called himself The One, and Gervonta Tank Davis.
He don't never lie, does he?
He audacity like this guy right here.
This was just funny.
Remember I said, I was loving what I was seeing out of Tank. He was showing maturity. But here he go again. Tank
this was
put
funny.
This tweet up. Al and Leonard probably calling me right now, but I don't have my phone.
That doesn't seem bad. What's wrong with that?
Y'all look at this. Y'all see how it say Twitter from iPhone? Oh my God. See, this right here. This is my thing right here, Gervonta Davis.
I don't have my phone.
This is my thing right here, Gervonta Davis. You got to see, this is the thing. Like, dude, I don't know who gassing you up, but see what you're doing right now, you poking the Barrera fam. Like, don't poke the Barrera fam. Don't do that. Don't do that, because I'm telling you, you're taking yourself in some waters where you ain't going to be able to swim. I know you think you're that guy right now, but really, Gervonta Davis, you are a good fighter. But when people talk about special, I don't see it yet. And the way you're acting like, oh, I'm Floyd right now. And you ain't even made yourself a resume like that. Floyd was protecting you. All these other fighters, all these other promoters see you as food. Keep poking the bear. Keep on. Because May 28th, I got Rolly Romero knocking him out. He say,
Don't listen to this guy.
I'm telling you, y'all gonna see.
Man, I don't see how you bash Tank so much for thinking he's Mayweather, but you love Adrian Broner. I don't understand that.
No.
Broner really thought he was Floyd Mayweather.
But
Tank, I think people think that Tank thinks he's Floyd Mayweather because he works for Floyd Mayweather. But man, I think Tank's his own man. But I do think that was a stupid tweet. If you're gonna say you don't have your phone, be sure it doesn't say sent from my iPhone on the very bottom.
Yeah, but they say Adrian Broner fought everybody.
And he got his ass kicked by the big names.
It don't matter. That's fine. But guess what? He let his balls hang.
Yeah, for sure, bro. I don't. Again, going back to what we started off, I don't think Tank's the reason he hasn't fought everybody. Tank's mad that he's fighting Rolly.
Who the reason then?
Who you think's the reason?
Oh man, stop it.
I don't want to do
because if fighters want to fight, they gonna fight. You seen
not when you work for Floyd, bro.
Man,
Floyd says what Floyd says goes, and you said it yourself.
Okay,
Floyd is a manipulative man.
No, I'm saying Floyd like everything. I'm talking about that's just how he is. But if we look at Floyd's resume and look at his career and look at what Floyd did, Floyd didn't act like that. Floyd took on the fights that propelled him to greatness.
No, Floyd Floyd earned his stuff.
So
yeah.
I'm not blaming it on Floyd. It's on Tank. Look how he acting. Talking about Allen.
Yeah, silly. Well, good shit. That's a good shit, Corey. Now here's my shit, all right? Mr. Don King, who we are so gracious that you had us out and we got to visit the ranch and all that good stuff, but Mr. Don King, Mr. Only in America, we got to call it like we see it. So this is your first shit, sir. This is your first spit bucket shit. Enjoy it. He says, Canelo Alvarez should drop out of the Bivol fight. Why? He says, how can you say, keep in mind, the Bivol fight's on May 7th, Cinco de Mayo weekend. Mr. Don King says, how can you celebrate freedom on May 5th? He's referencing Cinco de Mayo. How can you fight on May 7th and condemn the attacks on freedom? You can't do that. First of all, Mr. Don King, Cinco de Mayo is not Independence Day. It has nothing to do with freedom. Cinco de Mayo is just an excuse to drink margaritas and get drunk. No, I'm just kidding. Cinco de Mayo is honoring the Battle of Puebla. It is not honoring Mexico's independence. Yeah. That's Jesse 6 de Septiembre. Yeah. So first of all, if you're not trying to make attempts to get these fighters signed, because it doesn't seem like you got a lot of effort to get these big fighters signed, don't talk about them. Why should Canelo drop out from the Bivol fight? He's not pumping money to the country. He don't have a Putin tattoo. That has nothing to do with Canelo Alvarez. Like, he's not battling the country of Russia. It has nothing. Don King, I know you're a little upset about the Makabu situation, but I tell you what you just did. You made sure that Makabu isn't going to get that fight with Canelo. Because once you talk shit about Canelo, you're on that Canelo blacklist, man. And he's not getting it. You just made sure Makabu was not going to get that fight. So, hey, do your history, especially when you've been talking about Viva Mexico for the past 30 or 40 years. Yeah, and you don't know when Mexico Independence Day is. That's September 16th. 16 de septiembre. That's my shit of the week, Mr. Don King. What you got?
Let me talk to you real quick. And once again, thank you, Don King. Everybody over there, y'all treated us graciously, and we appreciate and look forward to doing
yes, very grateful
business and work with y'all again. But you know one thing on the spit bucket, we gotta let the truth come to the power and the power come to the truth. See, like JJ, you iterated. Like Don King, you weren't saying all that when your boy Makabu was in line. Because if Makabu would have had this fight, we wouldn't have heard no comments out of you. See, Don King, the only guy he got is, what's his name?
Trevor Bryan?
Yeah, Trevor Bryan. Trevor Bryan. That's all you got. So that was a big push for you if you could get Canelo versus Makabu, because that would have helped brought you back to, But stop, Don King, stop.
Definitely stop. So that's my shit of the week. Now, we got ourselves big news out of the boxing world right after the break on our main event.
Here it comes! Oh my God!
TSB Main Event, brought to you by Overhead Door Pros. Fellas, if you can't get it up, you need to call Overhead Door Pros. These guys get the job done right and get out fast. You can call them at 817-689-9906 or visit www.garagedoorsorus.com, on Facebook.com, Overhead Door Pros.
All right, bro, you ready for the main event?
Man, let's get it popping, man.
Big news. Big news this week. Mr. Former undisputed champ, now champ at 147, Nebraska's own Terence Bud Crawford, allegedly, reportedly signing a 2-fight deal with PBC. Man, that's going to flip the script on the entire game. How you feeling about it? This is huge, man.
I feel great about it, right? I got to salute Terence Crawford, right? I got to salute him because I was worried, JJ. You know, I heard Eddie Hearn come out and say, "Oh, Terence Crawford, the guy who because I don't got no fights for him." And you know, with him fouling that against Bob Arum becoming a free agent, I was worried because I didn't know if that was going to shake other promoters, you know, but obviously it didn't. You know, I want a big dog salute him. You know, that fight that we're salivating from the mouth to see in Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford could possibly come to fruition.
We're so close.
With the rumors, these are rumors now.
Rumors.
We ain't heard nothing signed, sealed, and delivered, but people are talking about it greatly. It could come to fruition. And I think this is a great thing for all the boxing fans, whether you're a casual or whether you're a diehard boxing fan. I think this is great for the sport.
Well, it's a giant splash, bro, that's going to have a ripple effect because now you're pulling Bud from the wrong side of the street and you're putting him where he's supposed to be now. I say supposed to be if he wants to make these fights happen in today's boxing political world. And he's there. And now, like, the opportunities are endless. Obviously, there's the opportunity for the big fight that everybody's obviously talking about. You know, if Spence can get past Ugas. But I like what you said. Congratulations. We were just telling Bud that he may have said some dumb shit. He may have done some wrong things. And we were criticizing him. But now, congratulations. Because boxers today, these undefeated champs that are on the pound-for-pound list, we're so used to them saying, "No, I'm going to do shit my way. You got to come to me. You got to come to me to make this fight happen. I don't need you." Bud recognized that this fight wasn't going to happen. You know, and now it appears that he's chasing the PBC guys, starting with Mr. Errol Spence Jr. He's putting him in position to eliminate all excuses. There's no more excuses now to make that fight happen. The other one I've been hearing is maybe Spence can't make 147. Bud said this week, or he said last week, look, if I can't get the Spence fight, I'll move up to 154 and fight Charlo. So Bud is out there. He's put his name out there to make these fights. So kudos to, man, that's a big pat on the back for Bud Crawford because he's doing what we've been dying for people to do. Go out there and put yourself in position to make these fights happen. I love it. Look at the opportunity. Name the fights that can happen. Like, think about it.
Yeah, it's in, and that's what, and speaking of fights, you know, I'm a boxing fan of absolutely.
Number one boxing fan,
I want to see him versus Errol Spence. But him and Charlo, they've been going back and forward, bro, and that's intriguing to me. Like, that press conference and the lead up to that fight, I think that'll be something serious. So it's just a bunch of opportunities. Terence Crawford versus Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman came back and looked like his old self again, you know. He getting back into the mix of things. So it's a lot of fights over there. Danny Garcia, we could talk about that. Terence Crawford could easily face Danny Garcia his first fight because I'm hearing rumors June or July. If this deal is true that they're talking about, they said June or July. It's opponents out there for him to fight. So I think this is just great for Terence Crawford, especially since he had so much trouble with Top Rank. PBC trying to coincide to make fights happen. Now, like you say, all the excuses out the windows for these fights because it's some fights over there I would love to see him fight, but that one fight You know, and I don't want to talk about that fight yet because I'm not looking past Yorganis Ugas versus Earl Spence because that's a 50-50 fight to me. You know, Earl Spence could easily lose that fight and Earl Spence could win that fight. So I'm not looking over Yorganis Ugas because that's how much respect I got for Ugas, but the possibility
for sure.
Earl Spence versus Crawford.
Bro, and even Bud being there on PBC changes everything, bro, because even if Ugas wins against Spence, that's going to shift the conversation from the boxing fan base, the audience, the media. It's going to shift everything. Like, if Ugas wins, I'd be okay seeing Ugas and Bud. And it looks like Bud's totally down to fight anybody. And that's what I love about it, man. Bud not only makes the fights happen, but Bud said, you know, I'll move up to 154. Remember how Charlo was real dismissive of Terence Crawford?
Mm-hmm.
You know, when he was saying, you know, go focus on Spence.
Mm-hmm.
But now that makes that conversation happen. Mm-hmm. Bud Charlo, Bud Spence, Bud Ugas. You know, if Ugas beats all of those fights are great fights. We know Bud is down to make those fights happen. Here's my question to you though. Let's say 18 months from now, a year and a half, let's make these fights happen and all that good stuff. Who's the face of PBC for you? Who's gonna be the face of what Canelo is to you know his boxing community? Who's gonna be the face of PBC?
It's tough,
bro. It's loaded.
It's tough. It's like the face, because it's tough because you see Terence Crawford, Ugas, and Earl Spence, and I rate all them guys as right there with each other.
Yeah, they're right there,
Either
man.
one of them could possibly beat each other. And when I look in the lower weight classes, really, I don't. Is there anybody there that just stand out to you that we could think about on PBC lower weight classes that they could bring up? Because I ain't been seeing PBC.
No, man.
And get a lot of fighters, and you know, we see Gervonta Davis and Al and Leonard probably trying to call me, making jokes about that. It's showing that he must have a problem with Al Heyman too. I'm not saying that to be true, but from looking at that text, it seemed like it's a rift there. So, like, the face, you got Earl Spence edging Yorganis Ugas, right? I don't know. So I think it's gonna come down to the winner out of that fight facing Terence Crawford.
Oh,
that's who's gonna be the face of PBC.
Bro, and we'll be able to again eliminate the excuses and have an answer. All these people who've been teaming up with PBC, like the fans I'm talking about, it's almost like PBC has their own fan base. You can't have that no more because Bud is on the roster, or reportedly. Once Bud is on that roster, dude, it alleviates so many problems we've been seeing in the sport, especially at that division. Like 147, 154, those divisions traditionally, man, that's what makes boxing pop, at least for the last 20 years, you know, since the heavyweight division went down. So, dog, I'm excited. Thank you, Terence Crawford, for doing that, you know, because we're there, bro. Like, these next 24 months in boxing could be historical. We're eliminating the excuses. So let's keep it going. I think the opportunities are endless. Do you think there's going to be people who think, let's say Bud and Keith Thurman fight next? I know you said Thurman looked good. Do you think there's going to be those Bud haters, those people who hate everything about Terence Crawford because he's not Errol Spence? Do you think there's going to be people thinking Thurman can beat Bud? Do you think Thurman could beat Bud if that's the next fight that happens? Do you think anybody in PBC could beat Bud?
I think Terence will be the favorite, but looking at Keith Thurman, he looked good.
Yeah.
Coming back in that matchup, and you like you say, you need fights to get that rust off you. And we got to look at Keith Thurman as a former unified champion. You know, his loss, I don't look at his loss against Manny Pacquiao and put a stain on that. That's Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, exactly.
That's you lost. The only
loss
you got on your
one of the
resume
greatest of all
Manny
time.
Pacquiao.
Yeah.
So, would I say Crawford is the favorite? Absolutely. But
does it excite you? That fight?
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
You know why it excites me? Because, like I said, one thing about Keith Thurman, it ain't nobody more sharper than him. Like, you got some ones out there in boxing who could talk that talk, but it ain't ones out there who more sharper than him than talking that talk.
You mean competent or like sharp like boxing?
No, sharp.
I got you. Yeah.
And confidence and help leading up.
Oh, so the promotion.
And
I see what you're saying.
And
I got
then
you.
coming into the ring and backing it up. His record is
It speaks for,
impeccable.
yeah,
It
for
speaks
sure.
itself.
Yeah, that
So
fight when he beat.
I would love that fight. See, JJ, I done finally got out the mind frame of, just hoping and the wishing and the wishing and the hoping about these big fights. I just want to see the fights.
Yeah, exactly, bro. There's so much to be had. Like, there's so many good fights.
Because
that
we
can
can't
be made.
complain about Keith Thurman versus Terence
No,
Crawford.
we can't complain. Now, if PBC starts pulling some shit where Bud is fighting some nobody,
Yeah.
when you've got all the, then we can complain. But Bud moving to PBC, that's going to have a ripple effect
Ain't
on
that
the
the
sport.
perfect fight? Let me ask you a question. Ain't that the perfect fight for Keith Thurman? I mean, for Terence Crawford to announce himself and for Keith Thurman to show everybody
That he's still
he
here.
is who we
Yeah.
thought he was.
Dog, Bud and Keith, I think Bud's the favorite, obviously. But I would love to see that fight. And let's start making them happen. Like we said last week, just because you don't land the big fight, doesn't mean you got to fight the bottom guy of the roster. Like Mike Tyson said, fight the next best guy.
Jamal Charlo.
Whoever. It's loaded, bro. Like Charlo, Thurman, like it's loaded. So I'm excited. Big ups to Bud for making this happen.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be in the building on April 16th. I'm sure he's going to talk about it. So let's do it, man. Let's do it. I'm excited about where boxing is headed these next few months.
You think he going to, real quick, I know we're about
Yeah,
to
we
talk
got it.
about that show. Do you think if Earl Spence is the victor, because that's
You
a
think
big
he's-
if.
He's in the ring.
You think Terence Crawford walk into the ring and that fight get made right then?
I think we might see it, bro. I think Bud's gonna
I'm
be
saying
ringside.
if, because Ugas, what's Ismail Sadler say about Ugas?
He is no easy peasy. We'll see, bro. I think Bud's gonna be there. I think Spence is gonna win. I think Bud will go in the ring and they're gonna shake hands on him, bro. That's my dream. I think we
Crawford
could.
did it. He on PBC now.
Yes,
No more
sir. He's on
excuses.
PBC. Good stuff, man. So that's it for this week. But before we leave, let's talk a little bit about one more time. TSBNFT.com. Tell them.
Yeah, man, y'all need to go to TSBNFT.com. We are the first boxing platform to have NFTs to where our first event, our kickoff, is at Jerry's World, Cowboy Stadium, the billion dollar facility. We got the two biggest VIP suites, me and my guy, my compadre, and JJ Jose
Si, senor.
Jr. Solomon. We're going to show up and show out. And if everybody from the 214 across the pond, if y'all coming to this fight, thinking about coming to this fight, hit up TSBNFT.com. Get your NFT with us, and that's going to get you not only in this event, but all the exclusive events that we do from the 214 to across the pond.
I love it. I love it. Also, before we're out of here, don't forget, get some merchandise. The SpitBucketPodcast.com. We have our Warriors Foundation where 10% of all of our proceeds go to fighters who've been permanently injured in the ring. Gerald McClellan, Pritchard Cologne. There's so many of them who can't take care of themselves anymore. So go get yourself some gear. Get yourself a hoodie. Get yourself a cap. Get yourself a t-shirt. Get yourself a tank top so you can show the guns in the summertime. And just know that not only are you supporting the Spit Bucket Podcast, but you're supporting some of those words that have been in the ring who've lost it all, man. Also, check out our social media, the Spit Bucket Podcast on Facebook to get in our boxing discussion group. Instagram, the Spit Bucket Official. Twitter, TSB Podcast OFCL. TikTok, Spit Bucket Podcast. We're on TikTok now, so check it out. Man, that was a great week, episode 7. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Subscribe, share, let your friends know, let your boxing homies know. We will see you next week for episode 8.